John's Manufactory. I'm not really dressed for work right now, but I just wanted to give you an update on what's going on. You know, we've had the holidays come up. We decided to do our Thanksgiving in 3 shifts, so we did a Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Sort of break the family into 3 pieces to keep everybody a little more separated. You know, we have a brand new infant we need to keep safe. I just haven't been working all that hard. A lot of light work. So, in the interest of light work, I've been working on the door. So, let me show you what I got going on there. Got inside my door painted. Not too bad. It's kind of a chore getting down in there, but I manage it, sort of. Well, hello. That should be a little better, huh? So I thought I'd mention something. When I was painting inside the door, the paint was taking a long time to dry. And so, this is what I rigged up. As it turns out, the vapors coming off the paint as it dries, it must be heavier than air, and it was collecting inside the door, so the paint just wouldn't dry. As soon as I put the fan on there, boom, just like that. Dry in just like 2-3 hours. Pretty cool. Okay, so I'm just gonna hang the door in the car. I sort of feel like I'm cheating because I've not moved my striker or latch, so I can just pop the door on there and latch it. The hinges are still in the same place. So with just 4 bolts, I can put it right back where it was originally. And I wanted to do this just for the express purpose of getting the door all set and then pull the hinges off one at a time in order to recondition them. So here I'm just working on the top hinge, and you can see where the bushings have cracked and are starting to fail. And using the bench grinder to clean them up. So working on the hinges here. And you'll notice these upper hinges have original color on them. So these are the original hinges in the car. Now I don't know if anybody has ever mentioned this before, but these hinges were seam sealed to the car. And I don't know I've ever seen anybody online seam sealing hinges to the car after they get everything all adjusted and all perfect. These were seam sealed. That was just something I just discovered. Kind of interesting. And for all you people sharpening your kids' ice skates, this is my setup. I just have a board here and a grinding wheel set up in my drill press. I have a little recess. Well, here, let me pop this. There we go. So there's a recess. So I radius this grinding wheel, and then I set it so that it grinds the exact center of the skates. Then I lock it, and then I can just run the skates along here and put a sharpening edge on it. And you don't have to pay to have it done, and you don't need a $1,200 machine. I mean, eventually, if she ever becomes an Olympic skater, I suppose I'd have to do something a little better or design something, but in the meantime, works great. Okay, here I'm setting up for doing a mod to the hinges. Drilling a little, what would I call it, an access hole to be able to grease the bushings. And here it's just, I'm using a larger drill bit to countersink the hole so that the tip on my grease gun will seal. And a quick little soft jaw there to protect the flange of the bushing. Cleaning out the rust out of the holes that the pin goes in and fitting it together. Just using the vise as my press. Perfect. Okay, so there's my little mod. The next one I do, I'm going to do a smaller hole, maybe 1/16 inch. I did this as an 1/8, and that's just too big. You know, the grease could work out of that and then water could get in there. But if it's a smaller hole, the grease will fill it and keep it full. So I've changed the tip over for my rubber one. And the idea is it just fits right in there like that. And it should be able to grease this hinge. So I'm going to do it right now. And let's just see what happens, huh? Yep, works perfect. See, grease coming out of the top. Yep, grease coming out of the bottom too. Now my idea is that after I grease it, I don't want water getting in there, but see, after it's greased, the hole is filled with grease, and that's all I have to look for when every time the door is closed like this, I just open the door a little bit, I can see that and put grease in there. So I'll leave that grease in there, and I'll go ahead and clean this up when I paint it. But oh man, that really makes for a perfect hinge. No play, absolute perfection. Moving on to the lower hinge. I thought that I videoed me putting the top hinge back on and doing all that, but I'm having trouble with my video camera. So there are sections where I have missed the video. Okay, so this one was a little different. I'm doing a couple of more mods to it just to make things work out better. So first, new bushings. It's all cleaned up. And you'll notice I've got the parts laid out there on the bench. I ended up not using the replacement, shall we call that a latch arm or a catch arm? I'm not sure. Well, anyway, so here I'm taking the original one and welding a tip onto that arm so that it hooks the tube better. And I just did not like the replacement arm. The tolerances were just terrible. Their dies are dull, and so there's so much tear away on the stamping. I just decided that the old one was far superior, so I used that instead. Okay, so here I'm drilling and cross-drilling the pin that holds the roller. Okay, sorry about that. Battery died on the camera. Don't know how much of that got filmed, but this is the where I have arrived at. So, what I have done to this hinge so far. I added some metal in here. The purpose is to make it stop ahead of time, because what happens is if this hinge is allowed to go further, then when things wear, this arm can jump off of the roller here, and when it jumps over like this, it goes far enough to dent the door. I explained that before in another video. So what I did was I welded extra metal onto here so that it really hooks, and it can't just slide off. If you look at the the replacement here, if you look at the replacement, you can see the difference where I added the tip on there. The whole point being that that extra hook stops this arm from jumping off of this roller. Now the other thing I did was I drilled this pin and then cross drilled it so that my grease gun with the rubber tip, I can just stick this like so, and just like that, I can keep this roller greased. So that should stop that roller from freezing up and wearing prematurely. Okay, so besides that, I also drilled and countersunk a hole right there. For the same reason, I can stick my grease gun right in here, even after the door, when the door is closed, you can't get to it. But when I open the door all the way, I'll be able to stick my grease gun in there and just give it a shot. So I can keep my it should start coming out somewhere. It isn't yet. Yeah, see, I got a little grease coming out there. I haven't got any grease coming out of the bottom yet, but these bushings were pretty dang tight. So let me get some more grease worked in there. Let's see if I can pressurize it just a bit more. I found that I had to actually hold the grease gun with my other hand so that it didn't smash the rubber tip and then no grease would come out. Well, it's coming out of the top and is not coming out of the bottom yet. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. That now should stop this hinge from being able to overrun either way. It can't go too far this way, so even after this wears, because it's the one taking the load to stop the door, the hinge won't be allowed to go any further anyway. So now I'm assuming that they didn't want the this stop here stopping the actual door because it's so close to the pivot point that it causes excess force. As long as this thing hooks first and it doesn't let go, that'll be okay, but this stop here is there as a safety. All I gotta do is get that darn spring in there. This is what I'm figuring I have to do, is press this pin out a little bit so that this arm will go up and swing over the top of the roller. So that allows me to get the spring in, and then I can just pull it back. Oh, come on, get up there. There we go. I should be able to just grab it and pull it back. Like so. Now, once the spring is in like this, I can just stick it in the vise and press that pin home. And that should be the easy way to get the spring on, just like that. Okay, now you can see it in action. Door's closed. First notch, second notch, see? And then as the door swings, this thing hits right here. And the door is not yet latched. But it's actually stopping right there because of the spring. I could give it a little more clearance, but I'm not gonna. Because I know where it's gonna end up after those bushings wear just a bit. There you can see I used a block and my jack to kind of adjust the height of it until I get it right, and then I lock the hinges down. There it is. Okay, so now I'll just light it up with my light here. See if I can get enough light on it that you can see it, and it'll stay there so I can close the door. There you go. Now you can see how it stops. The little extra hook on there. See, there's no way that's ever going to pop off of there. So the door closes. Just that easy. Of course, I don't have the weather strips on it yet. I have not moved the latch. There it is. That's my gaps, right back where they were, with the hinges done and all this work done and everything, and my gaps are really, really good there. Okay, it's looking good. Also, they make wrenches. This is the only one I have, because I worked at Cadillac, and this is what I needed for a Cadillac. But the story is that even after the fender is on, if you need, they make a set of these wrenches. If you need to adjust the door, you can get on the bolts. I would think about getting the ones for Ford, which is 1/2 inch on the end and has a hook on it. Just whoop, like that. So here's a wrench that I always had in my toolbox. The one for General Motors here and the one for Ford here for tightening and loosening distributors. Comes apart so you can put a ratchet on there if you want. Basically, this is what I used on my doors. There's a gap between the fender and the door. You can get this tool in, and if you're careful, you can then loosen and tighten these bolts. Put some tape there or something. But it is possible to reach in there with this wrench and do this. Okay, just another idea. You know, I'm always looking for ways to be cheap.